It seems that men and women today face some pretty heavy challenges. Today we're going to focus more on some of the big challenges men are facing and how they can overcome them. Joining me at the desk is Pastor Joel Klemick, who's with the Mid-City Church in Lethbridge. Welcome to Bridge City News, Pastor Joel.
Great to be here with you.
So Sam, Southern Alberta Men's Ministry, what is it all about?
Well, it's an interfaith group of guys from different churches around Southern Alberta. They've come together to create opportunities, events for men of all denominations, no faith, some faith, to come together and be equipped in their faith journey to fully realize their potential, who they are.
How about the age groups too? Is it more geared towards the more mature guys, or how about some of the younger guys? Can they also get involved?
It's a really widespread. We've got teenagers that come and be a part of things, all the way up to some of the old guys, really senior in their years, senior in their faith, that have a lot to offer the upcoming generations.
That's good. Maybe be mentors to them along the way, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, you've got a big conference coming up this Friday and Saturday. Let's chit-chat a bit about that. And I'm fortunate enough to be your MC too.
Yeah,
Looking
we're
forward to
excited
that.
to have you there. The
That'll be
Testify
fun.
Conference, we're hosting it at the Mid-City Church this year. They have it at a different church in the city every year. And this year the theme is Testify, Why We Believe. And some of the cultural conversation around masculinity in our day, our age, is really complicated. We're hearing about toxic masculinity. We're talking about male privilege, and especially white male privilege. It can seem harder and harder to be a guy. The issues, like you said, are getting heavy. And more, men and their voices, it seems, are being pushed to the periphery in a lot of different ways. And so our conviction is that more than ever, men's voices need to be heard in positive ways that contribute in positive ways to the cultural conversation, everything that's going on. That more than ever, we need good role models, we need good examples from our men. And so this is a great chance to say, men, you belong, you're important, we want to help you make your life, your voice count.
You know, it's interesting, Pastor Joel, as I grew up in a household where I was taught chivalry for the ladies, pull the chair out, open the door for them.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually attacked on social media recently saying that I was very chivalrous, and I did this because some of the feminists who were out there were attacking me, saying that I'm oppressing them by doing this. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to be a gentleman. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it gets more and more complicated. Where is a healthy place and a helpful place for men to serve and to be still men in culture? And those are the kinds of things we want to talk about. Men, we need you just as much as ever, but even as we create space for women and the complexities that the gender conversation has this day. Issues like chivalry, they're still have a place. They have a role in talking about family and how we treat each other.
With love and respect, right?
With love and respect. And I
Right.
guess if it's not helpful, if it's not received helpfully, then it isn't perceived as love or as respect. And so then we need to still be a part of what's going on. How do we contribute in ways that make a difference, that really honor who we are?
A lot of men today battle sexual addictions, pornography, whether it's online or even still with magazines today. How much of a problem is that for guys today, including Christian men?
Well, I think it's been a problem for as long as men and women have existed. Sexual temptation has been a problem throughout history. Every generation, every culture has struggled with it. That's why even the Bible, which is thousands of years old, is talking about the issue. Today, I think the problem is unique in that issues like social media, the media in general, and especially the internet, has just increased access to it. And then part of the other piece of that is just how common it's become to consume pornographic content. It's become normal, it seems, seemingly normal to consume pornography.
How difficult is it for a man to maybe ask for help? Maybe he's shameful, there's a little bit of pride involved. And where does he go for that help?
Well, as you know, it can be hard to ask for help with anything for a lot of men. And so especially with a problem like this that can be cloaked in shame and guilt, and there's so much complexity around it. But until you ask for help, you won't get any. And so it is so important to find a safe place and a safe person to talk to. And so definitely, as a pastor, I think pastors are great resources to be able to talk to somebody. Someone who might serve in your life as a mentor, someone you can trust, who you know you're safe with, you can be vulnerable. But it's just one of those things, until you bring it out of the shadows into the light, there's no way to get help for it. So it's so important to find
So first of all, you have to admit you have a problem. That's the first step, isn't it?
First step, just like any of the 12-step programs, you just have to admit that your life has become unmanageable in that area. And once you've admitted it, then you can begin to seek the help you need.
And everybody has a different rock bottom, don't they?
Everybody has a different rock bottom.
Like you say to your buddy,
perfect.
you know what, you probably shouldn't be watching that, or you shouldn't be doing that. But it's like, you just wait. You know?
Right.
So, I mean, everybody's got their own rock bottom. And do we just stand idly by and let them hit rock bottom? Or do we kind of encourage them and say, look, you shouldn't be going down this path?
Well, it's tough because I think it is different for every person. It isn't until the person is ready to receive help that you can offer help that will be received. So J.K. Rowling, she has that great quote, "I found that rock bottom is a great place to start building again."
Oh, good.
So whenever it is that you hit rock bottom, there you can start building.
Nowhere to go but up, right?
Nowhere to go but up, but of course the drop can be painful.
Right. How about an accountability partner? How important is that for a lot of addictions that men are facing today?
I think in every addiction and in every problem we have, in anything positive we're trying to do, and anything negative we're trying to overcome, if we try and do it alone, our chances of success are just so low. The more help we have, the better chances we have of actually succeeding. And so accountability is such an important piece, and it has to be, again, somebody you can trust, somebody that you can be vulnerable with and be honest with. You can only grow as much as you're able to be honest about what you're really struggling with. But without that accountability, without that person, that positive influence in you that is pushing you forward, even when you've tripped backward, you just won't make it.
How about for some of these men that work a little too much? They become workaholics, and there's that healthy balance between family and work. What do you say to them?
Well, I think the drive to want to provide, to want to go out to work and bring home the bacon, as the saying goes, for your family, that's excellent. We want to affirm that. We have just as much, I think, happening where there are people that don't have the drive to work.
They don't have that ambition, right?
Exactly, yes. We want to be able to affirm that ambition and yet make sure the right boundaries are around it. I think that part of the problem is that at work, when you go and you perform, we're always being evaluated according to our performance. So when we get that positive feedback for what we do produce, what we do contribute, then we want to keep pursuing that. You hold that against the home, where sometimes things are complicated. The emotional engagement is complicated. To be available to your kids and available to a spouse, it can be hard, and there isn't all that positive reinforcement coming back at you telling you're doing a good job. You don't get a paycheck for that part of it. So it's easy to put your energy where at least it gets rewarded.
I think of that song, "The Cat's in the Cradle." It was Harry Chapin.
Yeah.
When are you going to spend time with me? Well, I'll spend time with you, Dad. I want to be just like you, Dad. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, like you said, some of the conversation is around balance. How do you balance these things out? And I think it's actually the wrong question. Balance sort of implies that all things have to maintain equal tension on them. And so when I talk about this with guys, it's usually the question is, what's the right rhythm? How do you fully engage at work when you're at work? And then how do you turn that off and be fully available, fully engaged in the home with your kids, with your spouse, whatever the situation is? So really, what is the right rhythm to things?
How important is that to be there for the children as they're growing up? Have that male influence in their lives?
Oh yeah, of course. We just know that how important it is to have both parents part of a child's life, part of their formation, part of their development, that we need their fathers contributing positively to who they are, their identity.
Because many fathers have hit the road.
Yeah, and of
bricks,
course,
right?
There's blended families of all kinds these days, and it gets more and more complicated. But of course, the opportunity there is you have more positive influence in your child's life if you do it well. But they need all of them. It takes a village to raise a child, as the proverb goes.
What about men that are not really the spiritual head of their family, but they want to be? A lot of times mom's picking up the slack, mom's opening the Bible and teaching the kids about some scripture and, strong morals and values, but maybe dad's not really there for their child as much. So how important is that for maybe to have that male influence as well?
Well, I think it is crucial, or else the kids are likely to repeat the father's pattern. And I think part of the problem is that often issues around church or spirituality, whatever the faith is, that you're singing love songs about God, and often these things can seem like weakness or feminine, and so men tend to disengage. And of course, all that does is guarantee that the next generation will be less engaged also. So it's finding ways for men to be engaged, and I think that honors their masculinity.
What advice would you give to men, Pastor Joel, who are maybe a little scared about doing devotions and praying with their family and their kids?
Yeah, I'd start off with a couple different pieces here. The first one is just based around this. There's a saying that if you want to eat an elephant, how do you do it? One bite at a time. No matter how big the issue is.
I thought you can talk about elephant ears, because I've had those before. They're very tasty.
The temptation, to eat too many.
One bite at a time.
It's just the way you start anything, with one digestible step at a time. And so I think there's two pieces to it, though. The first is routine. You have to find a place in your schedule, in your family's life and rhythm, where it fits. because if it doesn't fit, you're going to have to try and force it, and of course that never works. Where is the space? Is it around a meal? Is it at bedtime? Is there a space over the weekend where you just book it in, it goes on the calendar in ink, and nothing takes its place? So routine is the first part. Make sure it's part of the schedule. The second piece is simplicity. Make sure it's something that's accessible for everybody in the family. And so there's lots of great apps online like YouVersion or Bible Gateway, all these different apps that offer ways and means for you to get engaged in simple practices, again, that fit your schedule, that fit everybody's level of maturity. Start there. Make it routine. Make it simple.
What should men get involved with in their church? Ushering, working their way up to maybe being an elder, like a leader within the church, leading a Bible study, maybe a cell group, a small group. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's important that what's happening in the church reflects the people who are part of the church. So if you have men who are mechanics in the church, make sure there's space for them to serve as mechanics and they get to contribute in areas of strength.
Their true gifting, right?
Their true gifting, exactly. And so that the ministries match the people. Whatever the needs that they can serve in the community are there. And so churches, I think, today need to be really creative about the kinds of ministries that they're creating. Don't default to some of the old ones. Just you usher, you serve in this area, you look after the grass. Make sure we're creating spaces for men to serve that match their design.
Now, as a pastor, you're also part psychologist.
Of course.
I mean, you know, people come to you with a lot of their problems, married couples as well.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that men and women are wired a little bit differently? Let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I
and the
think
big differences that you've noticed.
Right, and I think some of the old tropes, even though they're just sort of stereotypical, I think they are true. Men, it does seem, whether it's nature or nurture, they seem to be wired with that warrior hunter mentality that's still there. And men, they're different than women. Women still seem to be a little more nurturing. They're just naturally better at it. Whatever forces are at work that make it so. And so men and women are different from each other, but there are also ways where we're all the same. We're just people. We struggle with the same things. Sexual temptation, for example, is not just a male problem. Right. It's a female problem. So we're different, and yet we're the same.
You know, I find it very interesting as well with my wife. Every time there's a problem, I have to find a solution. Let's solve this. Let's work on it. She says, no, let's just leave it for now. I'm like, no, we have to work on this now. You know, I don't know if you've noticed that as well with some
for
couples.
Sure. Yeah, and especially when the relationship problems, men want to fix or they disengage. If they don't know how to fix, then they don't even want to be present. And so it's tough to find that place where both men and women, husband and wife, can come together and patiently work through something over a long period of time where it takes a lot of energy, a lot of patience to see the fruit grow from it.
So the Southern Alberta Men's Ministry, the annual conference is coming up. Mid-City Church this Friday and Saturday. Again, I'm very blessed to be your MC for this. Yeah. Let's share with our viewers again what we can look forward to seeing and any cost for tickets and where do we pick them up? Yeah,
well, we're very blessed to have you there to MC the evening. Friday evening, Saturday morning. Tickets are available online. You can go to Facebook, go to the Southern Alberta Men's Ministry Facebook page, and there's a link there you can click to buy tickets from Eventbrite site. Easiest way, they're $25 per person. There's a discount for kids that are teenagers. Importantly, that comes with that, there are lots of great sponsors that are handing out coupons, that are making things available, that bonuses just for being there. We also have a wing night, nacho night, Friday night that Fat Burger's putting on for us. They've really come to the table on this. It'll be fantastic. You're going to get your value back and then some just by showing up and being there. We want to make sure every man that wants to go will be there. So even if you can't afford the $25, show up. We're going to find someone that can buy that ticket for you.
How about fathers bringing their sons?
Brilliant idea. Fathers, bring your sons. Do that. Make it happen.
I love it. So any final words of encouragement for the men who are watching today, Pastor Joel?
Yeah, the same words that I think apply to everybody, but especially in this day, in this age, in this context, our part of the world. Men, your lives count for something. Don't be passive with the one and only life you have. Figure out a way to begin getting engaged. And so that's, again, what the conference is about. Step one, figure out where your place is, and then show up. Guys, the world needs you more than ever.
Michael W. Smith had that song, My Place in This World. I still remember that one indeed. Pastor Joel Klemick with Mid-City Church in Lethbridge, thanks a lot for joining me in studio today.
Thanks again for having me. It's been great.
On behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News, I'm Hal Roberts. God bless and have a great night.